What's going on, my beautiful people, and welcome to another episode of the Hustle Coast podcast. Today we have an absolutely phenomenal guest. She is an marketing operations expert, MBA graduate, career coach, and the founder of alwaysworking.co, a platform designed to help professionals master the habits, skills, and techniques needed to launch their own businesses and become successful entrepreneurs. I give you Jazzy Moore. Thank you so much for coming on the podcast today.
Thank you for having me.
Oh yeah,
My pleasure
absolutely.
for sure.
Yes, absolutely. We've known each other for a good amount of time now, it
A
seems.
long time.
Long
A long
time.
time, like 3 lifetimes ago.
It seems that way, right?
Yeah, 3 different versions, right?
Yeah, exactly, for
Yeah.
sure. No, but I was definitely happy to get you on. I know you have a lot of insight to share. You've done a lot, so I'm really excited to get your story and
hmm
share that with the audience.
Yeah, no, for sure. I don't even know where to start. I'll follow your lead.
Yeah.
But yeah, when I say 3 lifetimes ago, I feel like I lived 3 or 4 different lives. So.
Yeah, for sure, 100%. Well, I
hmm
always like to start at the origin, the very beginning. So,
hmm
where were you born? What was your childhood like, family like, all that?
Yeah, for sure. That was my first life. But I was born in Detroit, and then I grew up in a place called Adrian, so a small town in Adrian, Michigan. And then after that, most of my upbringing was in Connecticut, so Hartford, Connecticut. So that's why I had
Okay.
some people that know me and they're like, "You're from Connecticut, you're not from Detroit." And then some people are from like, "You're from Detroit and you're from Connecticut." So it does start feeling like two different lives after a while, and your accent gets mixed up. But I will say what had a lot of influence on me as an adult was Connecticut. So, we were in the city, and yes, there's Black people in Connecticut for those that don't know. So it was a pretty hard upbringing there, but I had the best of both worlds. I saw a lot of stuff growing up. I saw, experiences. I knew what it was to go without, and I knew what it was to have. So I'm grateful for that. I wouldn't change anything about it,
Yeah,
for sure.
absolutely. And for you, growing up, were you an only child? Did you have siblings?
Technically, I was the only child. My father remarried, so I have two siblings that I grew up with. They were a lot younger than me, so I think when they met, I was probably 10. They were 2 and 4, I believe, and then I would
Wow.
only see them like on summers because I live with my mom in Connecticut. The only child, but definitely I would say they're my siblings. My father and stepmother are still married, so
That's awesome.
yeah,
Okay.
best of both
And
worlds.
yeah, for sure. So when you were growing up, like middle school and all that, was that in Connecticut?
Middle school, yeah. Yep. So I came to back to Michigan probably 10th or 11th grade. And by then, I thought I was grown. But yeah, Hartford, Connecticut was some elementary. I was back and forth, and then middle school and high school. And then
Okay,
I graduated in
awesome.
Michigan. Yeah,
Oh,
those were
wow.
it was rough in Connecticut.
Yeah?
People don't
Wow.
believe it. You think of like Norwich and the rich places, but Connecticut was definitely a harder upbringing for sure.
Okay. Wow. Yeah, I wouldn't have expected that for sure.
It
And
was Google Hartford.
yeah, no, I will. I will. And
Mhm.
when you were growing up, like what kind of kid were you? Were you a sports kid? Were you, what were you into?
Yeah, again, so that was like that double life. So when I was with my father, he had me heavily involved and in sports. When I was with my mom, I was more of a girly girl. Um, I think in the urban neighborhoods, the sports aren't as much supported unless you're like a boy and star athlete. So I didn't have a lot of that. I was doing things like double dutch and drill practice. I was into those type of things.
Okay.
Um, that's when we played outside. So we were outside every day, back
Right.
outside.
Yep. Yeah, no,
Yeah.
for sure.
Um,
And then so
yeah.
for high school, you said you went back to Detroit for high school or
I
to
went, oh
finish
yeah,
high school?
bring me way back. Yes, I went back, and that was a hard transition because I was used to the city and it's just completely different. And I got to this suburban school and I was just bored. And I went from an all black school to a predominantly white school, and I had culture shock with that. But yeah, I went there and I ended up graduating, but it was probably the best thing that ever happened. I was only focused on school because there was nothing else to do. And I started doing sports, and then I got into college. I ended up going to college in Michigan, and then I transferred to Tampa, and that was a whole nother
Okay.
life.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
for sure, for sure. That's where we
Mhm.
ended up meeting in Tampa, Florida.
Yes. Yeah. Tampa changed my life for sure.
100%, 100%. So
Yeah.
when you got to Tampa, had you already graduated college?
No, I actually came here on a program. I was always looking for like a way out. However, I could do it because at that time I wasn't working. I didn't have a way to support myself. So I found this program called National Student Exchange, and they let you go to any school you wanted to in the US for 6 months and pay out of state tuition. So at that time, pay in state at your current state. At that time, back in the day, tuition was like $95 a credit in Michigan. But in
Mm,
Florida, it was like $700 a credit. So I would have never been able to go there. So because of
right.
that 6 month program, I was like, yeah, I'm gonna figure a way to make this happen. So I came, and then by the time I did that 6 months, I stayed another 6 months, and then I got residency. So then I could afford the in-state tuition, and I ended up staying. That was like my little way
Okay.
out.
Okay, nice, nice. No, that's
Yeah,
really cool. And so for you, you ended up graduating college in Tampa was where you graduated college?
I did. Yeah, and that was on and off. So I got to Tampa, and I started having too much fun. So I didn't technically drop out. I think I technically flunked out.
Okay.
A couple semesters, took a break, and then I went back online and finished up my classes. I went to HCC for a little bit, for a
Okay.
couple classes. I was determined. I was like, I'm gonna do something, but it took me way longer. I think it ended up taking me like another 4 or 5 years from when I
Mm,
moved to Tampa to graduate.
okay. No,
It was
for
a good
sure.
time though.
Tampa is a good time. There is a lot
Eh,
to do, especially now. It's come a long way.
yeah, and
For
everything was
sure.
cheap back then too, so you didn't have to
Yeah.
be balling to live in Tampa.
For sure, for sure. What were you going to when you got to college, what were you going to school for?
I was actually going for marketing and business administration. Originally, when I went to school, I think by all the time with, again, me just having too much fun and having to move things around, I switched to communications. I looked at what was the easiest way to get out. But even that, I'm still in business, so I'm glad for that. But even switching to communications still helped me in ways I didn't know I needed it. But that was the fastest way for me to graduate.
Mm, okay, perfect. Yeah, no, that's epic.
Yeah.
And we're going to get all into how all of those skills are relevant today. So the first thing I kind of want to get into is marketing and marketing operations. So
Mhm.
for those unfamiliar, how would you define marketing?
Yeah, marketing is definitely not what most people think. Marketing is a mixture of activities that happen to pretty much market or push your business. So when I say I do marketing, people have this idea, and I get all kind of crazy requests. So marketing can be advertising, SEO, website. I specifically do marketing operations. So I help manage all these different marketing things that are going on.
Okay.
Social media is a form of marketing. So again, marketing is more like a category, and
Right.
people
And
forget that or
then
don't know it.
and then specifically, so for marketing operations, you're saying it's kind of managing, is it like the different ways you can market, or can you expand on like the marketing operations a little bit?
Yeah, for sure. So I'm sure any entrepreneur can relate that you'll hire probably someone from Fiverr, or if your business has grown, you'll hire somebody to do your marketing. You're like, hey, can you do my social media? Can you post for me? Can you update my website? Can you whatever it is? And it sounds easy, but you hire this person, they end up not doing the job right, or it doesn't look good, it looks cheesy. So when people hire me to come in, I come in there and I streamline it. I give it a process. I automate it. I make sure that there's a quality check. And that's
Mm,
right now I think it's getting a lot of props where people are bringing more people in. But early on in the industry, people didn't see the need for that. They're like, "Oh, I can just hire somebody to do it." But no, people have to be managed. It's the same way with any business with any other operations.
right.
Yeah,
Yeah,
especially
no.
with AI and automations, things coming about.
Yeah, for sure. And that's actually kind of like some of the other questions that I had. So,
Mm,
in the social media era, obviously marketing is everything. You know what I
yeah.
mean? So for you, when you first kind of take over a project or when you're overseeing, something like that, like what are some of the things that you're dealing with? What are some of the steps that you're doing?
Yeah, so when I started out some one of my other lives, I moved to China. And when I moved to China, I was married at that time. I didn't have a job. So I got on something called Upwork, and I was just doing the whole side hustle thing. And I started doing anything marketing. And that's when I realized I don't really like marketing. I like managing it. So on there, I was doing everything you could think of in marketing, design, Shopify sites, websites, which made me a better marketer. Um, but what I would say, what I really realized is that I don't want to do all that. And I started getting requests from bigger businesses saying, hey, we need somebody that is familiar with all these things to come in and help us to manage it. So I found this niche where I work with agencies. So again, it's like my little secret. I don't even tell anybody about it, but I work with the bigger companies, and you wouldn't think that a bigger marketing company needed help with their marketing, but 95% of them do. So I find companies that are already doing marketing, and I come in and help them improve what they're doing. But again, I don't think that's a career path that anyone can take. I found it because I was side hustling, and I got burnt out. So, and I like to share more people to say, hey, this is something that you can try that's out there.
Yeah, no, 100%. It definitely sounds like something really, really cool. So, for businesses, how should businesses, because again, this is the Hustle Coast podcast. So, we have a lot of
Mm,
entrepreneurs, people
yeah.
that are kind of starting their own businesses, things like that. So, how should businesses think about selecting the right marketing automation platforms, or how should they be setting up their systems, or should they be going with someone like you to kind of oversee that and do that for them?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I say first know your business. So you start with your offer and start with one offer. Too many times, business owners, entrepreneurs, they have all these ideas and they try to do it at once. But if I know that I'm selling t-shirts, I'm going to look at the marketing tool that gets me sales the fastest. So I don't need a TikTok. Like I made a lot of money. And in the beginning, I didn't realize how much I was making, so I wasn't able to see it. But a lot of money was coming in, and I wasn't really doing anything on Instagram, YouTube, TikTok, or anything like that. So I think people worry about the wrong things. So if you need sales and they're going to come from SEO, who cares about Instagram? Why would you pay somebody to work your Instagram when you can pay somebody to work on SEO? So I think knowing your business, we have ChatGPT. Everybody knows a hack. So you go on there and say, hey, I have a t-shirt business. People are doing these cliche things. What's the fastest way for me to use marketing to get sales? It gives you an option. You focus on that. But I would say
Yeah.
just dumb it down. People are just too stretched out.
Yeah, for sure. And I have heard that too, like even, with music or just
Mhm.
marketing anything, that sometimes maybe trying to focus on all these different platforms, it might
Yeah.
take away from just really going hard on one.
Yeah. 100%. And I had to learn that myself too. Again, that's when I really started making money. I focused on one thing. And even in sales, I know you from our sales days when
Hmm.
people were like, oh, we got to do this, we got to do that. I'm like, no, this thing works on every call, every sell. And I was knocking my sales out because I did the same thing over and over. So it's like if you've had a job and you've been successful, nothing changes when you're in your business. I think
Yeah.
entrepreneurs, again, just overthink it.
Right. Yeah, no, 100%. And I do
Mhm.
just have to say too that, you were one of my sales mentors back in the day, so I do
Oh
have
my
to give some shout out to that, you know what I'm
God.
saying? So
And that's why it's my pleasure to be on here. Like I've seen you like just anything you say you're gonna do, I will say you do it and make it happen and put some sauce on it too.
Oh, I appreciate it. Thank you. You do too. You do too.
Yes.
All right. So, are there any underrated tools or software that you think more companies should be using when it comes to marketing and operations?
Yeah, 100% AI SEO tools. So I push SEO because it's once you get into a hang of it, it's free marketing. You don't have to pay for ads. You just have to do the work up front. So if you can Google SEO AI tools, 100% you need to be doing that for your business. Chat GPT, if you don't know how to use it yet, learn how to use it. If you don't have an account, get an account. And then from there, you need to learn your prompts. And again, I use that from creating my business plans. I've used it to help me create lists of people who I need to pitch to, or if I'm helping a company who they need to pitch to. So again, I know everyone says Chat GPT, but really make it part of your day.
Yeah, for sure. I've been using Chat GBT for a while now as well, and I
Mhm.
mean,
It's crazy.
it streamlines the process.
Oh
Let
my
me
God.
tell you, you just go in there and say, hey, I need a description on this product for
Hmm.
this specific platform, and
Yeah.
make it sound fun. And
Yeah.
boom.
It is.
So,
Before people really started using it, I had a friend that called me. They're like, "Hey, I got this work email and I'm getting ready to go off. I don't want to lose my job. Like, what do I say?" I'm like, "Girl, go to ChatGPT."
literally.
So even the craziest things, because I know people are typing crazy things in ChatGPT, but go to ChatGPT and use it.
100%. And
Yeah.
honestly, I think too that a lot of entrepreneurs and just upcoming, business people, they're not getting it just yet. Like there's your side probably that you see, okay, yeah, all these big time companies are using it,
Oh
but then
yeah.
there's like people who are like not using it yet. And it's like, hey
Hmm.
guys, you might need to get on it
Yeah,
because if you're sitting here taking 30 or 45 minutes to write the description for a product or a
exactly. And it's probably
biography
not
or
as good.
whatever, like, and
Hmm.
it's not as good, like you're
Yeah,
wasting your time.
exactly. Yeah,
So
100%.
for sure, for sure.
Yeah, it's either get in or get left.
Get in or get left. I like that. That's a good one. All right, cool. So if a company could only focus on one area of marketing operations to improve this year, where should they start?
I would say your systems. So having a project management tool, honestly, any operations, it doesn't have to be marketing, but I don't know if you guys have heard of ClickUp or like Asana or Monday. So everything that you're doing in your day should be in those tasks. And that way, even if you don't have a team yet, you can eventually delegate it. The hardest thing for companies and people to do is hire people, even when you have the money, believe it or not, because a lot of times you'll say, I don't want to hire anybody because it's going to take too much time to train them. I can just do it myself and it's done. But then you're always like in this rat race. So I would say start documenting what you're doing on your day to day, marketing, operations, anything. I mean, I have my cooking and my whole schedule in there. But that way, when it comes to it, you just click a button and say, hey, I'm assigning this. You already have everything documented. Otherwise, you're never able to get those things off your plate. And what does that what happens? You end up not being able to run your business because you're burnt out.
That's
That's
a
like
great
time
point.
management 101.
Yeah, I was about to say, like, I need to get something like that because I've been
For
just using my
sure.
my phone calendar.
Oh, really? Yeah. And make sure you
Yeah,
have a calendar. That's important too. That's
yeah, yeah.
important too.
No, I
Yeah.
got to get on that. Okay, yeah, for sure. That's some
Mhm.
great insight. And so the next thing is, and you kind of just answered this, but just, advice for people who are up and coming, trying to, get sales or trying to get more exposure or get seen, any specific advice that you'd have for them, other than obviously, automate, get control of your schedule,
Mhm.
anything else?
Yeah. Do you mean like if they own their own business, like any
Yeah,
business?
yeah, correct.
Um, I mean, the great thing, if you're in it for the right reasons when you own your business, you don't really have to be seen. You just got to get clients, get paying clients. So, companies pay a lot of money and they need help. There's tools like Apollo.com. So, say if somebody wanted to connect with CEOs, like literally on this tool, you can type their job title and it gives you their phone number. So finding a
That's
way
big.
to connect with them, then you have their contact, you can send them emails. Everyone does LinkedIn. I don't check my LinkedIn. I don't think most people check their LinkedIn. So when you have tools like the email Apollo.io, they're like, oh, how did you get my cell phone? How did you get my email? So definitely I would say not being seen, but finding out where your paying customers are and then being there.
It's big. I like that. I'm gonna have to save that one for me as well.
Yeah, it's a good one. It's free too. They have free accounts.
Oh wow,
Hmm.
definitely. Okay, cool. So you've helped a lot of people at different stages of their careers. What's usually the first thing you ask someone when they come to you and they're feeling stuck? Maybe this is on the career coaching side.
Yeah, so it was funny as I started doing career coaching, I felt like a therapist a little bit. So the issue with jobs, the conversation always starts about like what's going on. Like a lot of times, mostly females, they might have had a breakup and they feel stuck. Now they're sad and depressed and they don't like their job and they don't have enough money. So it starts there because you have to be in the right mindset to go into something new. Something usually anyways. With men, a lot of times we'll talk about they just don't like what they're doing. It's more ego involved. So we talk about the root. And I just give them the advice like, hey, do a change. And I do this myself. So you guys might have seen me go blonde a couple times.
Yeah, yeah.
Usually when I go blonde, I'm like, all right, it's new me, new year, I'm stepping out. But it's a study too. It's a fact that, well, statistics anyways, that when you make a change on the outward, it changes how you work and move in the inwards and the inside. So that's always worked for me. When I feel better, I work better. I feel like I'm ready to go out and do something new and reinvent myself. So I always tell I don't necessarily coach, but it's sort of turned into that. So my clients that I'm working with to help them find a job, I always tell them like, hey, like start making yourself feel better. Like, what can we do right now? And then, I'll give them a plan where you'll start applying, you work on your discipline and reaching out because you have to do the work too.
Yeah, no, that's great. And that's a good point. It's kind of like something that I always say, which is look good, feel good,
Hmm.
perform good.
It's a fact.
So the
Fact.
way you look, it
Yeah.
does affect things.
Hmm.
So that's
Yeah.
good. Or
Hmm.
even
I'm
just
telling you, when
making
I go blonde, I feel like Superwoman, but it messes up your hair. So.
right. That's dope. Okay, for sure. And also another thing too, when it comes kind of on the same career coaching side, what are some of the things that people can do? Maybe let's say someone's looking for a job, right? Maybe they're not the entrepreneur yet, but they're looking for a new job or they're feeling stuck, they don't like their job. What are some good interviewing what's some good interview advice you might give to some of those people?
Hmm. Yeah, so I treat interviews like a sales call. So when you go there, and you want to ask for the sell, like they say for those that know. But you go there, you show up, it's not the nervous energy. It's the same thing when you go on a blind date or you go on a date or something. Like if you show up with nervous energy and insecure and not confident, that person is looking at you like, who am I out with? So it's the same
Right.
thing when a job is hiring you, they want a confident person. So they're not hiring you fully based off like ability or what you look like. They want somebody that can come in and do the job and make their job easier. So you need to come in there with that energy and just like confidence to say, hey, I do this, I do that, have questions. That's the biggest thing that people just go in timid. Like, I don't, if you're timid, I don't want you on my team. So, and a lot of
Right.
companies are thinking that way, especially with budgets and cuts. Like they can't afford to just bring people on just to do it.
Yeah, no, 100%. That
Mhm.
confidence is everything, especially
Mhm.
like, and again, I've been in sales for a long time. I know you have as well. I haven't really
Yeah.
been too much on the marketing side. I'm sure there's obviously like a lot of data and research on that side too. But when it
Hmm.
comes to sales, give me the person who just can handle rejection and who
Yeah.
stays
Yeah.
hype and who doesn't
Yes,
get
no,
affected.
5 times.
Yeah, yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So that's definitely good. And I found too, like for me, a lot of the jobs that I've gotten, when I've been into interview, it just comes down to like you got to really believe when you walk
Yeah,
into that interview like I'm not just here to get this job. These people need to sell me why I should work here,
exactly.
you know?
100%. 100%. Yeah.
For
And
sure.
they feel it. They're like, oh, he must have other offers. He must be wanted. I gotta take.
Right.
Yeah,
Exactly.
it's the same thing with
Exactly.
dating, right? Like, who wants somebody that nobody else wants? So,
Right. Right. Yeah, exactly. So
Mhm.
it's all like psychology, but you got to put yourself
100%.
in good positions and I always say too in my belief that the best time to find a job is when you have a job.
Yeah.
So if you have to start off by getting, maybe a little crappy job just to have something, but
Mhm.
then you use all that off time, you better be out there looking for something better and not get complacent with that crappy job.
Exactly. Exactly. 1000%.
For sure. For sure. So we're speaking a little bit about confidence.
Mhm.
Let's say somebody doesn't have that natural confidence. Maybe some things have happened in their life, maybe it's just
Mhm.
not who they are. Like how do you help someone build confidence or should they fake confidence or what would you advise to someone who's needing help with confidence?
Yes, I mean, that's a hard one because you have to do the work. So if you have issues that are going on within, you have to, I don't know if it, I mean, I've talked to some people, I'm like, hey, you should look at therapy. Like that's okay because I'm not your therapist. I'm here to help you find a job, but I can, be your friend within it. Like you should get a therapist and talk these things out because they're not, when we hang up the phone or the Zoom call, it's not just gonna go away.
Right.
So again, doing the work. Also, we do something called a career personality test. So knowing what's a good job for you. So if you're telling me that you want to go, I don't know, be a speaker and you're shy and you're like, you're coming off antisocial, you're giving bad energy vibes, then I'm gonna say, hey, that's probably not the job for you. Like, let's do the personality test based off your actual personality results and answers that you put on here. And this is saying these are the best jobs for you. So maybe it's behind the scenes management, data entry or something where you don't have to socialize with people. And then, like you said, while you have that job, now let's work on what you want. So you have the money coming in. What do you need to do to be a speaker? How can you be more personable? How can you have those interactions? How can you get rid of your anxiety if you're nervous? So, like you said, you got to do the work and you got to do whatever you got to do in the interim until you can get to what you want.
Yeah. No,
But yeah, that
that's great.
personality test is great. I actually haven't really put that out there yet, but it's I've taken it too. It's pretty accurate. It's free. It tells you like, hey, based on these things and your answers, this is probably what you should be doing, what you would be most happy at.
Oh wow, that's really cool. And what was that called? Or
I'll have to send it. It's on my
okay,
website, but
okay,
I'll send it to you.
okay, cool.
Yep, if
Yeah, for
anyone's
sure.
interested.
I've done a few personality tests, and I feel like every time they're always kind of like accurate. You're always like, how
It's
do they know
accurate,
this? But
right? You don't always like the answers.
right, right. Yeah, for sure. That's funny.
Yeah.
So, talking about getting jobs, right?
Mhm.
For people who are not the most technologically savvy here, how should they be formatting their resume?
Yeah, I mean, ask for help. So if you don't know how to do your resume, pay somebody to do it. They have ChatGPT, they have Canva that has templates. That's the easiest thing. Canva, get a free account and do a resume template in there. But again, if you don't know how to do something, pay somebody else to do it. Like people waste time doing stuff that doesn't matter.
Right, right.
And then from there, just blasting it out. So I do believe some people will go against this. I do believe that finding a job or new opportunities is a numbers game. So if stuff is not coming to you, and sometimes you have favor, you're lucky, things will just come to you. But if they're not, like actively be putting your job out there. And believe it or not, I'll give people advice where I'm like, hey, I found these companies, apply for them each week. And I'll talk to them 4 weeks later, they haven't applied for anything, but they have the same issue that they're coming to me saying that they need a job. So it's like I'm just honest. I'm like, you're being lazy.
Yeah, seriously,
You have
seriously.
to apply. So again, it's a numbers game. So just
Okay.
being ready. You have to be ambitious, just like anything else.
Yeah. Yeah, no, absolutely. And I honestly could not imagine like having a career coach or like somebody to help me find a job and then them giving me all this great advice, all these gems, and then hitting them up 4 weeks later and they're like, all right, so how many jobs did you apply to? You're like, oh no, I didn't get a chance to apply for any.
It
Like,
happens.
don't
It
sleep.
happens. I would be embarrassed to do that.
Me
But
too.
again, that and a lot of people are like, "Oh, you're the person to go to for jobs." I'm honestly here for like the struggle. Like I've been through so many things, ups and downs, having a job, not having a job, making a lot of money, not making a lot of money. So it's like talking to somebody about that process, like that's more so where you find the win with me.
Yeah.
And when I'm telling you like, "Hey, you're being lazy or you're being discouraged," like that's when I feel like my clients find the most value with it because anybody
Right.
can tell you to go apply for a job.
Yeah. Right. Exactly. For sure.
Mhm.
No, that's great. So let's talk a little bit about networking, the importance of networking, and in your opinion, what's the right way to network?
Yeah, so I that's a funny thing. Like we're post COVID, I personally went from just being out socializing all the time to a new mom. So I don't have time to network. Online has been great to me. I will say God has blessed me with companies coming to me to work with me. I've been with like my main client for years now. So if you are not networking, make sure that you have some social presence or online presence. I don't do a lot on social media, but I am on platforms like Upwork, where I get consulting clients. There's like freelancer.com. So again, having some type of online presence, LinkedIn, and then nurturing that. So updating it and then doing outreach. But networking, this is going to be a new season for me as I get back out there. So I would say if I were to start tomorrow, I'm looking up in the events. I'm going to the brunches. I'm going to the socials. Like I just saw like a charity event that I want to go support. Some people may call those things boring, but if I'm networking, I'm like, these are the people that I want to meet, work with. They probably have some good jewels that they can drop with me as well. So just putting yourself out there.
Yeah, yeah, no, that's great. I heard a quote. It might have been Ty Lopez where he was like,
Mm,
"You're one person away from doubling your net worth," and I was
for
like,
sure.
"That idea is kind of dope."
Yeah, it is. It is. Like every time I go out, I meet somebody and I'm like, wow, you would never know because they're regular people. But it's like, you do
Right.
what? And they always look like regular people. Yeah.
Yeah.
But if you're not there, you're not in the room.
Right. Right. For sure. So yeah, definitely being out and about. And do you think that there is still something to be said for like, I don't want to say cold calling, but like cold reaching out to people or cold emailing people?
Yeah. 100%. And that's what Apollo.io is with it. So there definitely, you still want to do that. You just have to have a system. So you want to have like an automated, like Apollo.io lets you set up your email system where it just blasts out like 100 emails per day for you. So you just spend the time on your messaging, but 100% cold calling and cold emailing, like all the big companies are doing it. Why wouldn't you? Why wouldn't the entrepreneurs do it?
Yeah. Yeah. No, 100%. Okay. Perfect. So, for you, just kind of personally, how do you balance honesty and encouragement when coaching someone, again, who's feeling overwhelmed? Maybe they're not doing great. But
Mhm.
you kind of touched on this where you're like, look, I'm a little brutally honest, but I mean, is there any like give and take with that, or do you just kind of tell them how it is?
No, I'm not brutally honest. I'm just a very honest person, but not brutally honest. So I
Okay.
do listen. Like I want to see where they're at. I want to gauge what they're open to. Same way with me, I might not be ready to hear some stuff. So I want to give people that same consideration, even if it's the truth. So if I ask a question, I'm like, well, have you thought about this? And they're open to that conversation, then I'll give my honest opinion.
Okay. Yeah.
Again, I take more of a friend approach. So when you're talking to your friend, you don't want your friend bashing you. You want them to listen and then give advice if you're open to it.
Right.
So definitely not brutal at all.
Okay.
I'm a mom now, so that softens you up
Right. 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 I feel
for
that. I
sure.
feel that. Okay. No, that's great. That's great for sure. And I mean, I feel kind of the same. Like now, the thing about me is I feel like I could take criticism well, and I know that
Mhm,
some people, maybe due to past experiences, they don't take criticism well. So I
mhm.
definitely think that that is a good approach to,
Yeah.
do it from the place of friendship. And then I'm sure too, like some people are way more. Some people are like, criticize me. I need it. Please tell me what I'm doing wrong.
Yeah.
For
No. And
sure.
it's like you really don't need that.
Right.
You're gonna leave here
Right.
feeling even worse.
Right. Right. For sure.
Yeah.
For sure. So let me ask you this. What do you think that people should know, whether you're looking to get a job or whether you're looking to start a business? What should people know and be thinking about when it comes to personal branding?
Definitely have a LinkedIn. So I think we went through the era where LinkedIn was out there, but you didn't feel like you really needed it unless you were heavy into the business world and networking. But now everyone needs a LinkedIn. If you're applying, most likely they're asking for your LinkedIn application. Because the competition is so high with the job market, that it can come down to they like your LinkedIn profile. You can do like your own website, but I think people like LinkedIn because they can look at your social connects, some of the things you've posted, like they get an accurate feel for who you are. But I would say just have that online presence for sure. And then they are looking at your Instagram and your Facebook. I know for a fact they are. So with marketing operations and operations, I also do hiring. So sometimes I will look at social profiles. I know that some of the company owners I work with look at social profiles. So be mindful of what you're posting or make your page private. And I know people get into this, oh, I should be able to do whatever I want, but realistically, our whole life is online now. Like it just doesn't work that way. So again, get in or get left.
I
Yeah.
think that's a great point though to note is that like people need to be aware that companies these days are 100% going on and looking at your socials.
Yeah. Yep. They
So
are.
be private or don't have anything on there that you're
Mhm.
not, that's going to represent you in a way that does not fit what that company necessarily might be looking for.
Yep. Exactly. Exactly. And that tells a lot where you're at in your career. So I know, like, for instance, when I was out having more fun, I would post things like the parties and different things. And that's just where I was in my career. I wasn't necessarily ashamed or felt like I had to hide it. But now that I'm a professional, I'm a mom, why do I need to post those type of things? So you have to
Right.
reevaluate like where you are personally. If you're not there, that's fine. But don't be mad at the results that you get.
Sure, 100%. And then also to kind of change the question a little bit, still sticking with branding, but instead of like your personal brand in regards to getting hired, like what should people be thinking about when maybe let's say from an entrepreneurial standpoint and they're bringing this brand to an audience? Like how do they want to make it look, things like that.
Yeah. For sure. So people do look on social media. So I would speak for myself where I am a consultant. I have, agency type clients. I don't really put it out there on Instagram because I was getting a lot of requests. And I know that I charge pretty high. So I was getting requests like, hey, I'll pay you 200, I'll pay you 500. Like I I wish I could take those clients, but I don't have time, and that budget is just way too low for what I offer.
Right.
But I love the fact that when I was putting it out there, more people were asking. So if you have a service and people don't know that you do it, they're not going to ask you about it. So definitely have that service on there if you want people to reach out to you. And I think that a lot more people like working with people like from social media, Instagram, because they feel more connected to them. So it's definitely a good
Okay.
look.
Okay. So definitely also making sure to have your socials looking right, to have
Hmm.
everything kind of uniform, you know,
Hmm.
and looking appealing and good quality as well to the audience, I'm assuming as well, right?
Yes,
Okay.
100%.
All
100%.
right. For sure, for sure. All right, cool. So now kind of turning over to Always Working. Can
Hmm.
you tell us the story behind Always Working, what inspired you to launch it, all that?
Yeah, definitely. So always working started when I moved to Atlanta. And honestly, I was just always working. So I was like side hustling. I moved to Atlanta. I was still working for Humana, doing the sales at home. I was in the music industry, so I was working by day, going to Atlantic Records at night to the studio, and then
Hey.
mingling, just trying to get my foot in the door. And I was like, yo, like I'm always working. I was so exhausted. So it became like just my thing. I think I put it on Instagram as like my name or like a hashtag. And then people kept referring to me as it. So then when I was in the music industry and switched over to trying to do marketing, I started my own LLC and I just put always working marketing services. So it actually started off as like a marketing business. And then from there, I slowly started stepping into consulting, and all of my consultant clients were under always working. But I recently, I would say within the last 2 years, I was like, no, this is not what it's for. This was supposed to be to help people find jobs and different things. So I've separated those two businesses. So I still do consulting, but now always working is just strictly career coaching because that is why I started. Like I literally was hustling.
Yeah, yeah.
So it's more so to teach people how to hustle. I think everybody got caught up in this side hustle thing, but it's not always about just having a side hustle. Like maybe you want a part-time job, or maybe you want a job that gives you more flexibility. So pretty much teaching you how to hustle the right way.
Hey, and we love that because
Hmm.
again, this is the Hustle Coast podcast, baby. And we're going to
Yeah.
talk a little bit more about hustling and what gave you your hustle here in a moment. But before that, I did also kind of want to ask, what do you think were some of your biggest challenges getting Always Working off the ground and all that?
Yeah. I mean, it's still growing pains. So for one, like we said before, find your offer. I kept going back and forth. I didn't know what the offer was. We recently changed it. We're always working. We give a lot of free information, but now we have a paid newsletter. So ever since we made that shift, it's been a huge changer where it's like now this is what we offer. It's a low ticket offer. It's affordable because that was the other thing. We couldn't find what to sell because most people looking for jobs need money, right? So we're like, how are we trying
Right.
to sell you something? So now we're giving away that free content, and then you pay for the newsletter and you get even more content to help you find more income. So definitely know what you're selling. If not, you're going to go round and round in circles with that. The other part is funding your business. So a lot of bootstrapping. I will say up until this year, I still put a lot of money back into my business. So I have two sectors where I bring in income, and I would say in always working. I have three people on my team that I pay. I have to pay them whether money is coming in or not. We pay for tools. We pay for ads, SEO. So again, that doesn't change. Like as your business grows, you're going to put more money into your business. So just getting into a rhythm. And the third thing I will say is not spending money from your business. So that changed everything when I let the money come in from the business and left it for the business and didn't live out of it. So that's a huge like level, and it's hard to get to because the money's there and you feel like it's yours, but it's not yours. It's your business's money.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. And I'm kind of going, through that myself a little bit right now with Hustle Coast, not the actual podcast here, but I also sell merchandise,
Yeah.
like the hats and
Yeah,
the
I
shirts and
saw
the
that.
hoodies. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I'm also finding that too, where it's like the money that I'm making, it's like it's still not hidden yet what it takes to run it. So I'm like,
Mm-hmm.
all right, I gotta keep
Yeah.
keep this
It
going.
just
So
comes with it though.
yeah,
It comes,
for
but you
sure.
hear about all these big businesses and they're not necessarily profitable. They might have like the investment behind them. So if big businesses are running that way, imagine how it
Right,
is.
right, right, for sure.
Yeah.
100%. So, how do you want clients to feel after interacting with Always Working?
Hopeful. I want them to find hope. I think it's so hard because we're not to a point yet where we can work with as much urgency as I want. So when I'm talking to a single mom and she has 3 kids and she's like, hey, she just lost her job and she needs something ASAP. That's not what we're in the business of doing right now. We probably can't find you a job ASAP, but we're going to get you in the right path and in the right mindset. But I want them to leave there feeling like there's hope that, for one, someone does care, that they don't have a job and we know they need help. So let me see what resources we can find. And then two, that it's going to be okay. And
Yeah.
a lot of times I'll share my story of just going through different things because what I found is a lot of people that are coming to me, they look at me as, oh, you have everything so perfect. Like, how do I get there? So when I share, like, hey, I've been through this, I've been through that, and this is how I got here, I want you to know that you are going to be okay. And it's not just somebody telling you that. Like, if I was okay, you're going to be okay.
Right. For
So,
sure.
yeah, hope for
Yeah.
sure.
Sometimes it is just like somebody letting you know, like, hey, I've been through that. There's a light
Hmm.
at the end of the tunnel. Because when
Yeah.
you're in those dark, I guess you could say valleys, sometimes it doesn't look like there's going to be a way out of it, especially like if you're looking at like eviction or your car getting
Mhm.
repoed or you got
Yeah.
medical bills and you get fired from your job. Like that could be a scary thing.
It's devastating. It's devastating, especially with a child. So,
Yeah, couldn't imagine.
yeah, for sure. Yeah, the stories I hear amazes me because people think they have it hard, and I hear these stories. I'm like, oh my gosh, like your heart sinks. Like we got to help you somehow.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. So again, I know that we've kind of gone back and forth between talking about helping people obtain jobs, which there's nothing wrong with that. That's epic. That's amazing. That's one of the business models that you have. And then entrepreneurship. We've kind of been talking about both
Mm-hmm.
interchangeably. And I know people are definitely following along. But for somebody who is looking to take that leap into maybe starting their own business into entrepreneurship, but hasn't, taken that step yet, what
Hmm.
advice would you give to them?
Find a business model and rinse and repeat. So many people are like, I have this great idea. I want to start from scratch. But if you have a podcast that you want to start and you know somebody else that does a podcast, or you can look it up online, find out what they're doing and take the same steps. Like, don't reinvent it. I have my newsletter. And when I started my newsletter, when I switched over to that for Always Working, I looked at, I think it's called The Hustle. They got bought out by HubSpot. So I literally studied for like days on YouTube, every interview. I forgot the owner's name of it that sold it, but I studied all his interviews. I studied his content, how he created his content. And I started doing the same thing and I'm still doing that. It's like just because I have my brand, your name is always going to be different, but I don't have to do everything different. Like take the shortcut, take the hack.
Yeah. Yeah. And I found that same thing. Like sometimes all you need to do is take something that somebody else has done successfully. And I'm not saying bite on them because I do not like biters.
You don't have to, yeah.
But yeah,
Just your
take
brand, like make it your own.
make it your own, give it your own twist and maybe
Yeah.
use some things that they do good and some things that you don't like and again, make it your own.
Yeah.
For
Yeah.
sure.
But even if
For
it's
sure.
just like, hey, what equipment do they use? How
Right.
often do podcasters post? Like the small things.
Yeah. Yeah, no,
Yeah.
100%. 100%. Where do you see Always Working going over the next 3 to 5 years, or where do you want it to go?
For sure. So my goal is very doable because I've done the math. To be at 250,000 a year. I honestly think that's possible in a month because people do it.
It's awesome.
And then the logical plan is that I would sell. But Always Working is my baby, but I feel like the smart thing is to build it up and then have somebody say, and again, like I said, that's what the hustle did. So I'm not making this stuff up. I'm like, all right, this is a business path. I'm going to take it. So I would build it up to be acquired and bought, and hopefully still be a part of it.
Yeah. No, 100%. That's epic.
Yep.
So we have said it time and time again on this podcast, but now we're going to have Miss Jazzy Moore actually define it. In your opinion, what is a hustler?
Oh man, you don't stop. You're always working. You're
Oh,
always
yeah.
working. But definitely, like you just want it. I don't know how else to describe that. Like people that are sitting around, they don't want it bad enough. So when you want it, you find a way. If you got to work 3 jobs, if you got to ask for help, if you got to move, like you literally find a way to make it happen. That's a true hustler.
Mm, I like that. Find a way to make it happen, no matter
Hmm.
what.
Yeah,
Do you
nothing
think?
illegal.
Right. No, we're not condoning illegal activity on this podcast. All right, this is all corporate style here. Professional. All right.
Right.
Do you think that hustlers are born or are they made?
I think they're born.
Wow.
I think they're born. I see some people that are complacent and I don't understand it. And I just say, you must have came out this way. But I know for myself, like there's things like in high school, like I was hustling prom tickets. There was selling prom tickets, and for one, I didn't even want to go. But I found out that they were putting like these little cardboard paper things in a keychain, and selling it. So back in the day, I just went and printed those and I started selling them. And I was
Oh
like,
wow.
oh, I made $100. Maybe I'll go to prom.
What?
It might have not
Yeah.
been prom, but some dance. But that I didn't even think about it. It was like,
Wow.
hey, there's a way to make extra cash. Why wouldn't I do it? And
Right.
looking back, you do think like, what made you do that? But again, it's just in you.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. I've also and that's a great point, and that's one of the first times I have heard that perspective. Because again, I like to ask people these types of
Oh,
questions.
really?
Yeah, for sure. Do you also think that people who have gone through adversity, or they've gone through being broke, or they've seen things get taken from them or their family, do you think that that also can light a fire in somebody?
Oh, yeah. And that's why I say I think people are born with it because a lot of us go through things, right? And I know that was a part of me having my fire. Like I hit some pretty rock bottoms and I was like, this won't happen again.
Yeah,
But I know people that were on that path with me that hit those same rock bottoms and didn't bounce back, or
that's a
they
good point.
didn't continue for what I knew their potential to be. They didn't continue rising and showing up to it. And you have to say why. Like we both hit these points, but it could be many things. Like maybe they didn't have the support that one person had, or they didn't have the hope. So you never really know. It could be environmental, but I do think some people just refuse to give up. That's the
Yeah.
question. I'm gonna think about that some more, Jesse. Like, are we born
Yeah.
with this or like
Yeah,
pre-made?
yeah. Like, how do you get that dog? You know what I mean?
That
Like
dog, yeah,
that
yeah.
dog. I love that. I love that. But that's a great insight. So thank you for that, for sure. What skills or mindsets do you think are going to be most valuable with over the next 5 years?
AI. The thing is that everyone is saying learn AI, but what does that mean? Nobody's telling them how.
Right.
So I think that leaves people feeling stuck and they just disregard it. So with Always Working, we also give coaching resources and like school resources. Coursera has a great AI tool that or coaching certificate that they offer. I think it's $59 a month. You can finish it in 3 months, but it tells you how to manage AI.
Mm,
So even if you don't want to learn how to do AI, same way you have people that are like store managers, you need to learn how to now manage the AI that's going to be in that store.
right.
So that would be a huge thing. Like don't just learn AI, learn how to manage AI if you want to
Wow.
secure your job in the future.
Wow, that's big. I didn't know that. So for
Yeah, it's
sure.
huge. It's on Coursera. I'll send you that too.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. Please do. If you could go back and give yourself one piece of career advice, what would it be?
I started too late. I was having too much fun. Yeah, so I would definitely say get started as early as you can. Like don't take life too serious, but get started earlier.
Yeah. No, that's
And you
good
know
for
what
sure.
was saying that? So I took an internship at 30 years old because I started too late. So in the same sentence, I say, don't feel like it's too late to start. Because if I hadn't pivoted, because I had been doing sales, so I wanted to get into the business world, and I felt like, I was too old to take an internship, but I took it and everything took off from there. So again, if you didn't start early, don't feel like it's too late to start.
Yeah. Yeah, that's good. Because really and truly, in the grand scheme of things, 30 is not old. 40 is not old.
It's
50 is
not, but
not
then
old.
it felt like it.
Right,
I
right.
was looking at these people, I'm like, they already have this, they have that, and then here I am,
Yeah.
like, hey, I'm an intern.
Right, right. I feel that.
Yeah. Mhm.
Yeah, I think too, like, I just want to say that being willing to pivot and being willing to be courageous and do something new, even at a later point or even at a different time, Like
Hmm.
that says something about your character, you know what I mean, to me.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. Like you said, you either want it or you don't. So,
for sure. 100%. 100%. What role does self-talk play in your life?
oh, it's huge. So I'm very, I'm not religious, but I read the Bible and I pray a lot. I don't like saying spiritual because I feel like that has so many meanings now too. But I
Right.
pray, so I believe in the power of the tongue 100%. My son is only 4, well, 3 going on 4, and I tell him that now, like we're not allowed to say anything negative about ourselves.
Mm,
I don't speak badly on my day or anything. So again, my self-talk, it has to be positive. Like if I'm not encouraging myself or others, then I don't want to say anything at all. And again, I truly believe that. Like people, I hear people saying all kind of crazy stuff. I'm like, if you don't want that to happen, why would you say it?
right. Yeah. Yeah, no, 100%. I find
Mhm.
that for me, I feel like for most of the time, I'm always trying to be positive, but sometimes I catch myself getting negative,
Mhm.
and I'm just like, all right, hold up. You
Yeah.
gotta think of something positive now.
Yeah. That's a good point. I read a book. I forgot. I gotta remember this book, but it was like it's not the first thought that counts, it's the second thought. So, because that all it
Mm,
happens to all of us, right? So, on the second thought, I do always correct myself because you're gonna have those bad thoughts and bad things that come out. But I say,
right,
what is my second thought? Like, I'm not gonna let myself drown in that. I have to
right.
remember that book, but that was like, I don't remember anything else about the book but that line.
Yeah, well, hey, that sounds like a good book. Definitely
Yeah.
shoot it over. I know one of the my favorite books that I've read was Atomic Habits. Really changed things for
I
me.
haven't read it.
Yeah, you should check that one out. That one's pretty good. That was pretty
Yeah,
good.
I'll do it.
For sure, for sure. And last one, in your experience, what's more important, talent or hard work?
Hard work, for sure. Hard work.
For sure.
That's what gets the job done. So, and your
100%.
talent is not always there. Your work ethic is just it's hard to beat that.
Yeah, for sure. For sure. Yeah, and the thing too is like sometimes talented people can get cocky. You know
They
what I
are, I was
mean?
just gonna arrogant, right?
Yeah. Yeah, they can be
Yeah.
arrogant, but it's like give me the C student who's willing to grind and be creative
Mm.
and find a way as opposed to the A+ student who feels like everything should just be laid down right in front
Yeah.
of them because they're so smart.
Yeah. No, I 100%. Yeah. Like nobody wants to be around anyone arrogant. You feel
No.
entitled. You do probably half the work.
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, staying humble and staying relatable, I feel like is
Mhm.
was always kind of like my thought. Like no matter what,
Yeah.
like I always want to be humble and
Mhm.
I always said too, there's two different types of people in this world. There's those of us that are humble and there's those of us that are going to be humbled. So,
Oh, yeah, that's a good point. I haven't heard it that way. Very
yeah,
true.
yeah.
Very
Definitely,
true.
definitely. All right, so as we come to, the end here, these next questions, they're just fun. They're just for people to get to know you, not
Okay.
business related, just more about you. So for you, are you a morning person or a night owl?
Oh, morning. You call me
Yeah.
after 9, I'm asleep. For
I
sure.
like it. I like it. Okay.
Mm.
Um, one business book or podcast that has changed your life.
Oh man. The slightest thing. That's a really good book. The slightest thing. It
Mm,
talks about those small habits. It's probably like Atomic Habits. It
okay.
sounds like a matter of fact. It talks about those small things that you do every day that prepare you. And it uses the
Mm,
example where this person had wasted like 6 months doing nothing, and then they got a call from this TV show and they weren't ready. But this other person had been posting like every day on YouTube and got this random call, and she was like, "Yeah, I'm ready to go. Like I got followers," and she was all set. But it's like just don't waste time. Like those
right.
small things really do count.
Wow, that's big, and that also goes to show where it's like I would rather have what is it? I would rather have. There's like a quote where it's like I would rather not have an opportunity, or how does it go?
Than have one and not be ready or something like that.
Yes, yes,
Yeah,
that's
yeah,
it. That's it. That's
yeah.
it. So,
What a waste.
that goes a long way. Being ready for your moment when it
Mhm.
comes. Do you know
Yeah,
what I mean? Like that's real.
yeah. And you have to be ready because you just never know.
For sure. For sure. So this one's kind of out there, Jazzy. This one's kind of out there. How long would you survive a zombie apocalypse?
You know what's crazy? Okay, so I haven't really told too many people this. I got a call back to go on the survival. The
What?
show, no, The Survivor, the show.
Oh, I love that show.
I never thought they would call me back. So then one of the prereqs, they're like, hey, you have to learn everything from these seasons. And like, you're going to go through this quiz and like these other tests. So I started watching the seasons and getting ready for like my next call. And I was like, oh no. I was like, I'm not going to be able to do it.
That's
So I don't
hilarious.
know. The apocalypse, like, I don't call me. I might not be a good partner.
Okay, okay. Hey, but that's pretty dope though, you know. Good show, good show. All right, all right. Let's see here. This one, a little personal. What is your favorite thing to spend money on?
Tools. So this is crazy. I'm not a big shopper, but as I grow my business, I'm always trying out tools. Like I'll try out different AI tools. Like it gets expensive. I just actually started canceling them because I think I was up to like $400 a month
Oh,
on these
wow.
tools I was trying out. Yeah,
Nice.
so I remember being in a relationship before and they would get so mad. They're like, you just like paying people and paying for these tools and stuff. But it was a part of me learning. But now look,
Right.
we have AI here and I'm like, oh, I'm familiar with all this stuff. But yeah, I have a
Hey,
problem with that. Like just trying stuff.
I like it. Hey, that's a good it's a
Yeah.
good thing to spend money on though. At least it's not like,
Mhm.
like I gotta be honest, sometimes I spend too
Yeah.
much money on like shoes or like clothes and
I
stuff,
should
you know? That's
know.
not a good one.
Mm-mm.
Do you have any hidden talents?
Yeah, I can rap.
Oh, she can spit. She can spit.
Oh man, I used to spend days and days like writing raps and not just rap but poetry too. But I won't even say rap. I'm a good writer. Like I love
Mm,
storytelling and writing. I literally would sit and do that. I missed that. Just haven't had time to get back to it.
hey, that's what's up. That's amazing.
Hmm.
Yeah, for sure. And I've known you for a while, so I know I've heard some of
Hmm.
your rhymes, and you got some skills. They used to call her the
Yeah.
beat writer.
Oh my gosh.
Sorry, had to
Oh, that was
shout
a
it out. Had
whole
to
nother
shout it
life.
out. Yeah. Hey, like you said, we're only on number three. We got what? We got 9 or 10, something like that. Right.
Yeah, I believe it. I believe it.
Heck yeah, heck yeah. What is your favorite TV show or movie?
My favorite movie of all time is Losing Isaiah. It's like really old. And I
I
don't,
think I've seen
so
that.
yeah, it's really old. It's like Halle Berry, one of her first movies she had a long time ago. Um, and I don't know if that goes into like the hustle mindset, but she actually was a crackhead in the movie and she ended up losing her son. So her son got adopted into the foster care system, and she ended up getting clean to go back, but then had to deal with like all this other stuff in the meanwhile. But I just loved her bounce back. So
I,
that, for whatever reason,
yeah, no, that sounds. And actually,
yeah.
now that you say that, that does sound kind of familiar. I may have seen it, maybe just didn't know the title,
Mhm.
but no, that's a great one for sure.
Yeah, and I don't, so if anyone knows me, I don't watch movies twice. I hate it. That's like one of the few
Mm,
movies I can watch over and over again.
for sure, for sure.
Yeah.
And TV show?
I don't watch TV.
Okay.
I don't watch TV. So what's weird is I don't know if you watch YouTube, they have like these Chinese or Asian soap operas that pop up.
Okay.
I watch those. Like I'll get caught up and I watch them. They're like
Oh, nice.
basically Asian soap operas that pop up and they have like the translation. That's so weird. I don't even know why I like it.
And were you when you were in China? Were you did you get it, or is like more recently?
No, this is recent. I
Oh,
wasn't even in China.
okay, okay, okay. I got you. I got you.
Oh my gosh, that's funny. Nope, that was
That's fun.
recent.
All right, nice.
Yeah.
Nah, that sounds cool. I mean, this isn't, I'm not saying. I'm just saying I love Squid Games, all right? I love Squid Games and I like a lot
Oh,
of
I
other
heard that was good. I haven't seen
yeah.
that. I don't even know what that's about, but I heard it was good.
Oh, it's epic. It's epic. I don't think we have time, but maybe off stream I'll tell you what it's about. I'll have to get you up
No.
on it. But all
Okay.
right, what is your favorite music artist or band?
Um, I mean, I still roll with Drake. I just think I love his music. My favorite song of all time, rap song, is Renee. I don't know if you know what that is, Lost Boys. Like I always say that that's like a classic for me. That was like back in DMX days. And who else? Ella May is hot right now. Like as far as
Mm,
R&B, like I really like her.
nice. Those are good. Those are good
Hmm.
for sure. What is your most used emoji?
Laughing. For sure. Like the little evil one with the
Oh
wide.
yeah, yeah, yeah. That's good. That's good. And last one, do you have a go-to karaoke song?
Yeah. Why? Survivor. Destiny's Child.
Nice. Nice, nice. That's a good one. That's a good
Yeah.
one. For sure, for sure. All right. So, as we're closing here, are there any projects, expansions, or just big dreams that you got coming up?
The Always Working newsletter for sure. I haven't really put that out there yet, but we have a big push. So it's alwaysworking.co. When you go on there, you can still get the coaching that we offer for free, but the newsletter is definitely going to be the push this year. And again, we're just giving more resources for free. Right now, we have it as Always Working Happy Hour, so we even tell you where to find your nearest happy hour after work.
Oh, that's cool. Really cool.
Yeah.
Wow. Very nice. Any shout outs or thank yous that you'd like to give?
Oh man, so many. When we talk about career in like Atlanta, shout out to Wig. Oh my gosh, she's the one that like got me starting to read books for sure. I originally rode with him to move to Atlanta, and I think 4 years, 3 years later, I ended up moving myself. And I will say it just changed my whole mindset being out there. So I thank him for his encouragement and pushing me. Shout out to my mom and my dad. I mean, they've been rolling with me. They taught me how to hustle.
Yeah, shout out to them.
For sure. And then just supporting my dreams. Like I said, so many different lives, I feel like. So having people and my friends that are just there supporting me when I go through these phases or changes. And a lot of them have been successful. But again, I don't know if I would have been as successful if I didn't have those people in my ear just constantly being encouraging.
Right. Yeah, no, 100%. Shout out to all them, and that's all great. And last thing, where can listeners find you and connect with you? Your website or socials? I'll also link it in the description, but just so they can know.
Yeah, for sure. The website is alwaysworking.co, and so is Instagram, alwaysworking.co. Those are the best places.
Heck yeah. Well, Jazzy, it has been an absolute pleasure getting to. I mean, for me, I already know you, but the audience getting to know you today and all the value. You definitely dropped some gems for everybody. But again, I want to thank you so much for coming on.
No, thank you. This was fun. I
Yeah.
haven't caught up with you in a long time, so thank you. I had a good time.
Yes, absolutely. Great to hear it. And for everybody who's watching, remember, keep tuning into the Hustle Coast podcast. It's been a pleasure, and you guys have a great rest of your night.